Here we are back for session 3. It is almost 10:30. And we did actually miss a session yesterday, and what a session it was by the looks of the hourly chart. We see here that was 5 o'clock in the morning yesterday, and then by 4 o'clock in the afternoon it had dropped almost 3% there, 2.8% thereabouts. Awesome Oscillator obviously went on a nosedive, has been recovering then the price and the Awesome Oscillator, but still not enough to get that Awesome Oscillator back above zero, which means we are still sell trades. But if this green price momentum continues, we'd be very likely to see a switch over there. What about on the 5-minute chart? MACD line currently above zero, so that means if we see it come downwards, we will get a sell signal. However, if the MACD line remains above zero and the Awesome Oscillator manages to switch above that zero, we suddenly feel very far from getting an entry signal. Still though, that's a potential future, and for now, we'll just watch out for the sell trades going below the zero line. Let's see our economic calendar and see if there's going to be any obstructions for us today. Not a huge amount on. We did have 1:30 this morning, the Business New Zealand Manufacturing Index there, coming in 40.1 actual against a forecast of 61.8 and a 62.2 previous. Pretty poor numbers for the business conditions over there. And then 9 o'clock on the Great British Pound, quite a lot of retail sales and core retail sales numbers coming in. So retail sales month on month coming in at -0.9 against a forecast of -0.5 and a previous of 2.8. The year on year for those came in flat against the forecast of 7.3, so pretty disappointing there. On the core retail sales, it was an actual of -1.2 for the month on month against forecast of 0.2, so they thought it was going to be a little bit of growth, but still not coming for them there yet, but better than the previous of -3.2. And the year on year for that was -0.9 against a forecast of 13.7. So pretty far out on that one, and I'm sure they'll be disappointed with those numbers over there. That's what we've had so far. From the Bundesbank Executive Board at 11:10, we have got Dr. Sabine Mordera making a speech. She makes quite a few speeches. We're not really interested. It's not going to affect our chart, that's for sure. 12 o'clock, an interesting one coming in though. Eurozone as a whole, CPI and core CPI. They've got the CPI forecast at 0.4%. We've seen some of the individual countries this month coming in more than expected. I think we've seen more countries that were above the forecast than below it. So I'm thinking this Eurozone might come in at 0.5, 0.6. I imagine they'd be quite frustrated if they were far out with something like a 0.8 coming through. That would be less than optimal. And that's it for the morning. Afternoon, not a lot going on there either. 5 o'clock from the US dollar, we got the Michigan Consumer Sentiment. These are the surveys where we find out how the consumers feel about the economy. We see a few from the businesses and that sort of sector, which makes sense, producers and manufacturers and the like. But now we see how the end customer is feeling. When they go to the shelves to buy up their Beanie Babies, what are they thinking? We'll find out how optimistic they are. It's forecast at a 66.7 for the sentiment and a 66.9 for the expectations. Those two, though, are unlikely to have an impact on the gold chart, even though we are trading against the US dollar. Just doesn't seem probable to me. Last thing on will be the Baker Hughes US oil rig count at 8 o'clock. Don't think we'll be seeing that, but you never know. Unless we forget that it is actually quadruple witching day today as well. So in the stock world, there's a bunch of index futures and index options, etc. that will expire all at the same time today. So it doesn't necessarily mean the price of stocks is going to go one way or another. It just means there's a higher likelihood of seeing volatility out there, which might spill over to our gold chart. You never know, maybe all those options expire and people suddenly rush into gold now that they've freed up some capital there. Or maybe they sell all their gold, all the tons of gold they've got in their vaults. Maybe they just get rid of that so they can cover all the losses on the stock options and futures. Don't know, but we will find out throughout the day. And as we go back onto our technical chart, we see we're just still waiting for that zero line crossover now. Could well come with a couple of red candles, though the MACD line is headed in the right direction. And I will check back in when something of interest is happening. Maybe if this price drops a little bit more. And as we come to the close of this period here, we could see on the 5-minute chart that this MACD line crosses over the zero line. We're not going to enter immediately if it does, but if it closes, and it's going to be closest to whether it does or not, looks like it's going to be one of those times where if the candle finishes green, the MACD line will finish above zero, but if we see a red candle, it'll be below that zero line, and that's what will put us in the sell trade. Let's see in the next few minutes if we get that signal. Does look as though we are going to get this close here. That MACD line below zero could still return, but let's put up the standard deviation as we want to be prepared. Currently flipping up and down. Actually, it's paused there a good second there, so let's go for 1.03. And remember, we're using 3 times standard deviation for our stop loss and take profit. All right. There's our risk on screen now. And we're in those two sell trades there. Absolutely nailed it as well in terms of getting them in at the same price. Starting to come down a bit there on the chart. Let's set our stop loss and take profit. This stop loss here, we can call that 309, and we can also call the take profit 309. And then sub trade B, we can call that 309, and we can also set a trailing stop loss at 309 as well. So it's custom and 309. There we go. So we'll have to manually trail it if we do get price going our favor a little bit. And that's our trade though. There comes the green candle. So suddenly not looking like a good entry for us. Plenty of time to go though, hopefully. Not looking great on our trade as we do see prices pulled back quite sharply from when we entered there. It looked nice for a moment, but since then mostly green candles. I was hoping that this would be a sort of shooting star candle which would signal a clear reversal coming, and down we go. But unfortunately since then another green candle has come and we're looking at green again. So we're just about halfway towards our stop loss. Makes our take profit feel very far away out there now. That is a long way to go. And we're also seeing the MACD line start to hook upwards a bit there, right? So if we see a couple more green candles but our stop loss doesn't trigger, as I said, we could be manually closing the trade out because this immediately sweeps upward anyway. We want a couple more candles just like these ones, 10-minute big sell-off, get us into profit at least, and get that MACD line away from recrossing there. This is not looking good here as it does dash towards our stop loss. Even if it doesn't get there in the next couple minutes or so, we're going to see that MACD line cross over the zero at half-past. Seems very likely now. Those buyers entering the market, it's getting very close to our stop loss there. Does come back down a bit by the close of the candle though, and we're actually not seeing the MACD crossover just yet. I mean, we might do if this finishes heavily green. It does push once more. And there does go the stop loss. What a run up that was for price. We did get in pretty close to the bottom there. That's the lowest close that there is. And then it comes straight back up there. We weren't in it for too long. That's 3 times standard deviation there. And there's the losses on those $49 on each of them, so $98.88 total. Didn't have a chance to trail our stop loss at all, so it's just a maximum loss there. Yeah, that bump up in price looking to continue here. This is getting highly volatile at 11:38 a.m. Price shunting up a big way. Suddenly that stop loss looking like a blessing right there. Just coming into 12 o'clock now, and it does look as though that price move to the north is going to be sustained. It's breached through resistance level around about here. Yeah, look at that push even more there into new highs. And now we are just waiting on those CPI numbers coming in from the Eurozone. And there's the numbers then. We got the CPI month on month coming in at 0.4% actual, which was the exact forecast and the exact previous. And the core CPI month on month spot on, again 0.3% actual against 0.3% forecast. We do get a weird reading on the CPI excluding tobacco month on month at a 0.4 actual against negative 0.4 forecast. I don't think they would have actually forecast negative 0.4. That seems like an error to me, that tobacco would knock it out by that much. Weird that they even do it without just tobacco. So the Eurozone will be pleased to hit their forecast there though on the CPI and core CPI. So yeah, no major impact from that, and we just go back on the chart to see price where it's come back down from that high there. So I wonder if we'll get a reversal. We can see that Awesome Oscillator. It is closing in on the zero line. But for now, if price did shoot down, we are still open to sell trades. Although it will take a few sharp red periods to bring that MACD line now. Momentum clearly going to be to the upside. Price over the last hour or so, mostly just ranging here, has made a move over the last 10-15 minutes. But that is to the upside again. So if anything, that would drag the MACD line higher and further away from a signal for us. No economic numbers now until 5 o'clock, so a few hours until that. The last few periods though now, it has come down and it went back into the range, and in fact now is reaching lows beneath that range. So we could be seeing a zero line crossover coming. We have still got that Awesome Oscillator below zero. Price still coming down, and we are edging very close to that MACD line now, just a period or two away. Price actually coming down enough in this period that right now the MACD line has actually crossed zero. Better put up our standard deviation just in case this is going to finish like this. It's very close. So I think it looks like we'll go for 1.04 on our standard deviation if this does close, and it is ever so slightly edging there. Are we going to get it? This is going to go right down to the wire either way. This entry position is not going to be that great this candle or the next. Right now, it is 1 under 0.002 now. Oh, it's definitely dropped now. So we've got 5 seconds. This looks like it's going to finish there quite comfortably under in the end. Yeah, there we go. Our standard deviation did spike quite a bit there. What's that? Okay, so we'll call it 1.15, which is 3.45 for 3 times that to our stop loss. Oof. Going to have to just about round that up. Let's zoom in on the 5-minute chart just to get our trade in here. And so going with 2 sell trades here. And so there they are. We did get in at the same price there. So let's get the stop loss and take profit on. We'll go 345 points for each of them on this trade here. You can just about see that there. Don't know if I feel great about this entry position, as we've seen a lot of momentum come, but we've got to follow the system. Already this MACD line is looking a bit more certain than that one did, but the pull up can happen at a moment's notice. Let's do sub trade B, and same here. We'll go 345, and then we'll set that trailing stop loss here at 345. We'll just hope that people keep selling off their gold. Something I will say for the standard deviation indicator, you can see how much it chops compared to the average true range if you were doing the same sort of thing, saying 3 times ATR. The standard deviation, until this candle started dropping down here, it was about 1.03 that we were going to go for in our risk. And then it suddenly jumped all the way after that candle to 1.23. So we sort of looked on here and said, okay, well, let's kind of go between that and go for 1.15. You sometimes have to make those snap decisions. You're not always going to get it exactly there. If we do line it up with this candle right here and go there, it comes out 1.09 there, so not too much difference. But this is good though. We want it to keep coming down. It is going in our direction now. We'll manually trail this stop loss a little bit if it gets more in our favor. Now we just got to be patient and see. The clock strikes 2. Let's just have a look at our Awesome Oscillator and make sure we are all good, and we certainly are. Didn't know if the last 10-15 periods or so would be enough to bring this to a red candle, but not quite. Still all good though, so we'll check back in on the Awesome Oscillator at 3 o'clock, see if there's any difference there. But for now, we've made it forward about 119 pips or so, so I'm going to trail this stop loss on our sub trade B manually just forward 1/3, so that'll be to 230 points now. We'll see that jump to there. Here comes the sellers. This is a really nice run for us, exactly what we want to see. Biggest red candle on the screen right now, and it's come at the perfect time. Let's trail this stop loss forward a little bit more. Now let's go 1/3 further, so we won't have to actually manually trail that anymore. If this take profit triggers down here, which it's looking like pretty good at the moment, like it could well do, then at the same time, the trailing stop loss will kick in automatically, and then that will be able to run by itself from that point. So let's hope that can trigger, and then we get some guaranteed profit on the go, making back some of these losses from down here. This was a true reversal against us, and we got out of it early, but here we go, green candle coming, not what we want to see. Couldn't catch that take profit though, and 20 minutes on now, price coming back up a bit. It's just ranging in between our entry price and the take profit level. Not a lot been going on the last 3 periods. Here comes those sellers though now, getting very close to this take profit, new lows. Let's have it push on a little bit more. And there we go, there's the take profit, does trigger, and our trading stop loss bumps forward. Fantastic stuff. Price keeps coming down, or back up it comes now. But we are in guaranteed profit. That is exactly what we want. Perfect stuff. $51.90 there for us. No commission, no swap once again. Even now, if price was to come back all the way to our entry price and trigger that stop loss 3 times standard deviations back, we would still have made guaranteed profit of those $51 right there. That's what we want to see. We like it. Now let's wait out, see if we can get any more from this trading stop loss. 3 p.m. now, and we have managed to get a little bit more out of this trading stop loss, but price is coming back up now. Let's just check in on our Awesome Oscillator. Yeah, it has printed another green histogram bar there, but it's still well below the 0 line. Let's get back in on the 5-minute chart. So far, a resounding success. Here comes a big green candle though. Buyers are stepping into the market there, beginning to threaten our stop loss a little bit. And it does in fact trigger that stop loss as well. Wow, we were really profitable there, and then in the space of 1 candle, not even the whole of the candle, price with a big run up there. It's backed off now, interestingly. Still though, managed to take some profits. Let's have a look at that. $15.60 in the end, not as much as we would have liked. We weren't able to get back all of the losses from our previous trade this morning. Still though, good to at least get some of it back. Let's see what happens with price now. Is it going to come all the way back down over the next couple of candles and continue that overall red trend? Or was this an excellent stop loss in the grand scheme of things? We'll find out. Well, it had looked pretty good to get out of the trade here because we saw price continue to run up to this high there. But look at this last red candle. What a drop. Almost back down to the lows here again. We're feeling pretty sad right now that we're not still in this trade. They saw us coming, they saw our stop loss, and they said, hey, let's buy up some gold, let's get that kid out of the way, and let's start selling off again. So I do feel like we're missing out on some good profits here, but nevertheless, we took some when we could. As it just turns over 4 o'clock, we do see for the first time in a very long while, the Awesome Oscillator on the hourly chart prints a red histogram bar. This continued sell-off pressure has turned it downwards again. And we really have missed a good chunk of this run because of that retracement there. Never mind, it'll come again. Price had found new lows there, but making a bit of a bounce back the last couple periods, could continue to come higher here. Buyers stepping in at 1750 would make sense as a psychological price level. Certainly wouldn't surprise me if the sell-off continued either though. No idea what's going to happen. Spin the wheel. Price in a bit of a volatile range these last few periods, and we can see the slight increase in volume. 4:30, that was when the stock market opened. That quadruple witching. Nowhere near to any entry signal for us there at the moment. Price now potentially breaking to the upside. This volatile range though, don't know which way it's going to go at all. Right now it looks like upside, but previously it looked like downside, so who knows. But we have got those Michigan consumer sentiment and expectations through. That was just a few moments ago. And so we get a 71 actual on the sentiment against a 66.7 forecast. And in the expectations, a 67.1 actual with a 66.9 forecast. A little bit of a beat on those, which is always positive to see. Central banks will like to know that consumers aren't panicking, thinking that things are melting down. And there you see it, right back into the range. Looked for a second like it was going to break out right up there, found a good high. But nope, last two periods brings it back down again. 6:05 in the evening now, and price has barely budged off this 1750 level. There is still quite a bit of volume in the market. It has been dipping off, but you can see this has been very volatile, up and down, no money to be made in that range at all. And as we're still not very close to an entry signal, we are going to call that at the end of this session, but we will be back for another couple sessions at the start of next week. So to finish off, we'll just take a look at our trades in the journal. Here we are then in the journal. Not the best day. We did end up losing slightly more than what we gained. We had one full loss there, so around about $100. But we only made back around 66 for it after that big run up that knocked us out on this trade there. Could have been a lot more gains, and also worth noting that if we had it on a ratio, just the ratio, no trailing stop loss, obviously both would have triggered here and we would have been neutral for the day, or maybe slightly up based on how it worked out. But realistically, about the same. As it is, a slight loss for us, and this one being the unfortunate one. It did reverse against us price as soon as we got in there. We were in at the lowest close on that sell trade before the reversal. If we'd held on all the way, obviously we know it did come back into a gain below that level, but who wants to take that sort of risk? Well, we all want to, but who should take that risk? None of us. So that is it for the journal, and we will be back next week for more awesome mackerel trading.